it's Marco back on the Sage Soccer channel. Today I'm going to be talking about match week 8 of the Premier League, the Friday and Saturday games. Just going to get right into it, talk about the Saturday games first. Let's start with Manchester United beating Everton 2-1. And man, it was a pretty even game going back and forth for a while, but Manchester United were able to come away with it. Started off pretty slowly, gave away a goal to Bernard. Calvert-Lewin was able to win a flick on over that Manchester United defense, and Bernard was able to get away pretty easily. Shook Wan-Bissaka, got it by De Gea. I think they'd want to do a little bit better there, but overall, you'd hope for, not a bad result. For that being Everton's only real chance of the game. Manchester United got right back into it after that. Bruno Fernandes got a nice header off a Luke Shaw cross. This is the best Luke Shaw has looked in a while. I've been criticizing his end product for a while during this season, but good result there. I think he was doing pretty well in the midweek. Even though Manchester United didn't exactly have a great game, he was able to get an assist. So maybe it's the Teo signing that's really pushing him, or maybe just him getting back into full fitness, because he'd been struggling with injuries for a while, and this is really the biggest extended game time he's had in a while. Later on, Bruno Fernandes was able to pick up a goal. It was a little bit fluky, pretty good cross into the box that Rashford probably should have scored on, but he either whiffed it or let it go. I'm pretty sure he whiffed it, and the ball just ended up in the back of the net, and that ended up with a goal for Manchester United. So aside from that, the players were pretty good. I thought that Maguire was dealing with Calvert-Lewin as well as he could. He was doing pretty well in the air against him. I did like Fred and McTominay back there. I wasn't too sure about them starting, but he did pretty well, to be honest. Maybe Van de Beek will get into that over Fred or McTominay eventually, but right now it's kind of up in the air. Would like to see a bit more from Martial or Mata, but they didn't exactly get on the ball as much as they would have liked. Overall, it's a pretty good game for Manchester United, and they showed a lot of fight, which kind of shows me that they still want to play for Solskjaer, because if they would have just laid down, there's a good chance they sack him and Pochettino comes in, but this is something pretty good for that Manchester United team. They're at least showing fight for their manager. You gotta love to see that. So for Everton, it's not the greatest game from them. Obviously, Bernard got that goal. He was actually looking pretty good all game aside from that. Calvert-Lewin with that flick on, but aside from that, he was marked pretty well throughout the game. James Rodriguez wasn't looking as good as he had previously. I think he's just back from injury, so that definitely slowed him down. Seamus Coleman was in the same boat with that. I think that Luka Digne didn't look his best. Again, just coming back from a suspension. Yeah, this Everton team, a lot of different circumstances throughout it, but overall, they really would have liked to see a better game from that, especially coming away with the lead. You'd have liked to see some dominance, but Manchester United were able to get back into the game right away. So, pretty poor game by Everton, especially by the standards that they have set for this year, and it really looks like they're starting to cool off right now. So, picking man of the match for this game, I think it's going to be Bruno. He got 2 goals. I've scored off of crosses into the box, so I count those. But, really nice game by Bruno. Hopefully he's able to keep this form going forward. So, the next game I'm going to talk about is Crystal Palace beating Leeds 4-1. And let's talk about Crystal Palace first, because this was a great game by them. I was expecting, I could see a path to Crystal Palace winning this game, because they've constantly countered very well against teams throughout this year, but they were really dominant to start the game. Now, I don't think they'll have the possession stat, but they were making a lot of chances. All those chances didn't actually end up being a set-piece goal, as they whipped in a corner, and Scott Daniel was able to knot it in. And I think this is Crystal Palace's second corner goal of the year, and they did not score goals off of corners last year. So it's good to see that finally turn around. After that, they won a free kick near the edge of the box, and Eze was able to put that in. A great free kick, probably the best goal of the day. Great goal by him. And Eze, he was looking amazing for Crystal Palace today. When they signed him, this is what you wanted to see. Just a great game by him. After that, they were able to find a goal with Zaha. He had a really nice play to work the ball over to Van Aanholt, and he put a cross, and it got deflected, and it somehow ended up in the back of the net. Not exactly sure how that happened. Getting my light back on. There we go. But they will definitely take it. And then later Zaha was able to find Ayew for a straight goal. Aside from that, I really like the performances from MacArthur and Riedewald. They're doing very well handling that Leeds defense. Great jobs by them. Kuyate has been very impressive at the back. Nathaniel Klein's been looking good since he came in. I was a little bit worried about how he'd deal with Harrison and Alioski, but he did a good job. It was a very nice game by this Crystal Palace team, and if they can keep this momentum going forward, might be the first time they finished top 10 since they came up from the championship, 7 years ago. So you got to be rooting for them for that. So for Leeds, it wasn't the greatest result for them, and honestly, I'm starting to think that this might be a fatigue result for them. You know how much energy they play with, how much off-the-ball movement, and they did just play on Monday, and this is a Saturday game, so probably the shortest rest that they've had all year. That's my theory for this one, but overall, not a great game. Their defense allowed two piece goals, losing Dan on the first one, and I think this is the second straight game they've allowed. It wasn't a set piece goal; it was a goal off a cross previously, but not doing too well with those. I know they let a couple in against Liverpool. I think they let one in against Fulham, I want to say, a while back as well. So that's something to improve on, but the defense wasn't doing that bad throughout the game. I mean, the Zaha goal was when the Leeds were really pushing for getting back into the game, and the Zaha finding Ayew. The own goal was a fluke. The free kick was a free kick, and set piece goal. So not even that bad defensively, but just the mistakes you have to limit. I do want to say they had some really good responses after every goal. After the first two goals, I should say. Patrick Bamford and Glitch combined for goals after both of them. Unfortunately, the first one was called back due to an offsides, which I really don't agree with. His arm was offsides, and I don't know, if you can't score with your arm, it shouldn't count as offsides. That's my opinion, but correct call with the law, though. But aside from that, I thought it was not the greatest performance, but nothing like concerning. I think Bamford, he played well. I think he came in with a point to prove after not doing well at Crystal Palace at his previous loan spell, and I thought Glitch was playing well. Not too impressed with the rest of the midfield. I thought McCarthy and Riedewald had a handle on them. Would have liked to see more from Ayling and Alioski. They weren't getting forward as much as they could have. Had a pretty disappointing game, but I don't think it's a cause for concern, like I said. Picking a man of the match for this one, pretty easy for Crystal Palace, as a great game, great jobs off the set pieces. So next game I want to talk about is Chelsea beating Sheffield United, and this was a pretty simple game for Chelsea. They switched off at the beginning, allowed McGoldrick to get a goal, and but after that, great response. I mean, you had Kovacic finding Abraham for the opener. Right after that, you had Chilwell zooming across, or Ziyech zooming across to Chilwell, and I'm not even sure if he knew he was hitting that in, but he was in the right place, and he was able to get on the end of it. Ziyech was able to find Silva off a set piece after that, and it was just a great result for Chelsea. They really came in wanting to attack this Sheffield team. That did lead to them conceding a goal, but this win really never looked in doubt after they got ahead. I mean, obviously beating Sheffield's not the hardest thing, but especially after going 1-0 down, being able to break down a team like Sheffield United, that's definitely a positive you can take from this game. As I mentioned, Ziyech was looking very good. Tammy Abraham probably had his best game of the year, picking up the goal. Kovacic was looking good. Conte was able to break up a lot of attacks. He was doing pretty well on Burge in the midfield. Did like Reece James and Chilwell going forward on the flanks. Their defense was looking good. This is a Chelsea team that's really starting to come together, and I think right now the results are going to start to come for this Chelsea team. Great job by them. So for Sheffield, things started off well. They got a goal off of it was a corner kick that they had a play off of. I'm not sure if it was completely designed, but went Norwood. He found Baldock. They combined. Baldock whipped in the ball to Sander Burge. He had a shot or just a ball hit into a danger zone, and McGoldrick flicked it on past Mendy for the goal. And there's something I say on this channel a lot. It's the problem when you score too early, and that was definitely the case for Sheffield, because they opened the attack for Chelsea throughout the rest of the game, and they paid the price. And, want to say that I think their defense has to like something's not the same, and maybe that's O'Connell. And obviously the defense is different without Enda Stevens, and they were missing Ampadu today because of the no I don't know, regicide rule. Can't do anything bad against your parent club, and yeah, not the greatest result by them. There's not much to say about this Sheffield team that I haven't said before. Their attack is really weak. I think that they might need to look at a front three, maybe put McGoldrick and Osborne out wide, or Burke and Osborne out wide, play McGoldrick in the center. I think that might be the best way to try to get some results, because those wingbacks aren't getting forward as much as they did last year, and honestly, that would help them not play with the overlapping center backs. And I think that honestly might be hurting them at this point more than helping, because Basham really hasn't been involved that much going forward. The goals haven't been coming. I think that maybe going to a more traditional system might help out the Sheffield team, but if you do that, then a lot of these players are system players, and that might hurt them even more, though. So it's tough to say. But they're going to have some easier fixtures after this game, and they have an international break to prepare, so hopefully they'll be able to work something out. Man of the match for this game, I think it's the second straight week I'm going to go with Hakeem Ziyech. Great performance by him, and this Chelsea team is starting to look really good. Last Saturday game, we had West Ham and Fulham. West Ham win 1-0 in the craziest ending. This is probably the most entertaining game of the day, I thought, even though it's only 1-0, but West Ham got off to a really good start to the game. Them and Fulham started exchanging chances, and the game finally started to settle down. I thought their defense wasn't the greatest. It was a little bit suspect. They did lose Ogbonna, and I noticed that when they lost Ogbonna, their build-up play really suffered, so that's something that I've got to credit Ogbonna for, because I didn't think I realized that before this game. Defensively, they were a little bit suspect, as I mentioned, but I don't think Fulham were really looking like scoring. Cresswell's been somebody who's really impressed since switching to center back. He's been performing well. I think that Ryan Fredericks should get back into this team soon. Sokal out on the right, he's not been playing that great. And once they do, I think West Ham will really start to perform better. So I think that it was really kind of a flat performance from a lot of their players. They're making some chances, but they're just kind of coming. I think that Bowen and Fornals really didn't do too great today, and I think you could see a little bit of a change when Lanzini and Baurama were brought on. Baurama led to the goal with him putting the cross into Souček, though Souček didn't have the best game either. Him and Rice were really mitigated this game. Anguissa and Harrison Reed did a great job for Fulham. Honestly, this West Ham team didn't perform at their best, I don't think. Especially when you were looking at how well they were performing against like the top 6, top 8 teams. They weren't doing too great, but hey, their quality showed through. They were able to come away with the win. You got to be happy with that. And Fabianski did save that penalty, so good for him. So for Fulham, I mean, it was honestly a pretty good game from them. Even though I'd say they were about equal with West Ham, their players really played up to the game more than West Ham's did. I do want to say that their defense was giving the ball away far too much in the early game. Robinson and Adarabioyo were really giving the ball away against a better team that can be punished. They got to take care of that. But I think they will, because that was more of an early game problem, as I mentioned. Honestly, Mitrovic's finishing is becoming a problem at this point. It's I mentioned Benteke before, but he's really somebody who I compare him to at the moment, because he's not scoring. And has become an issue. I don't know who their backup striker is right now. I know Lookman has played there in the past, but I'm not sure if they want to do that. Could help them on the counterattack, but yeah, just something to remember. And speaking of Lookman, I thought that he had a pretty good game, but unfortunately, there was that penalty, and geez, that was the worst penalty I've seen taken in the Premier League in a long time. Like, at least if you sky it, you can understand the reasoning, but just, geez, bad chip. Bad penalty. Kearney's got to be disappointed. He did win it. I think he wanted to take that. I can understand why they didn't want Mitrovic to take, because he missed one as well, but that's something Scott Parker's got to work on. Take those penalties after practice. But I mentioned Harrison Reed and Anguissa. I thought they were playing pretty well. Kearney was able to do something, and Ariel was making some pretty good saves. Honestly, if West Ham didn't come away with the win, I would have given man of the match to a Fulham player, but I just like giving the man of the match to the team that wins. And so speaking of that, I think man of the match, as mentioned, I really wasn't a fan of too many West Ham players, so I think we're going to go with Fabianski, saving the penalty, some decent saves throughout the game. Good job by him. Lastly, we're on to the Friday games, and Brighton against Burnley. Jesus, this was a train wreck. So let's talk about Brighton, because they're the only team that wanted to play soccer that day. Lamptey did miss an early chance off of Welbeck run. He did play well throughout the game, but he's got to be disappointed in that chance. It was a tough shot for him, especially for a right back, but he was looking really creative throughout the game too. They were missing Solly March. Thought that he would be able to play, but he was out. I'm not too sure about what was up with him. Dan Burn was getting forward pretty well. A couple of his crosses weren't doing too well, but for how big he is, you have to admire what he was doing. The defense was performing great. They handled every Burnley attack really well. Nice to see Ben White back at the center back spot. He was doing well. Their midfield was dominating possession. Lallana, Basuma, Gross, they were all doing well. Yeah, just they couldn't find the goal. They were dominating the entire game. Just Welbeck and Mupai, they had so many chances to find the goal. They just weren't able to come up with it. That's disappointing for Brighton. So for Burnley, they just defended the entire game. That's all I can say. Didn't look like scoring at all. Their best chance was off of a Lowton cross that he mishit. Hit the crossbar. That's it. I did say that I wanted their star players to step up, and Nick Pope had a really nice game in net. I think it was his best game of the year. I hadn't been too impressed with him so far, but this was a game that showed he was England worthy. So I'm going to give him the man of the match. Yeah, good job by him. And last game of the year, of the week, not the year, of Friday. Still got games tomorrow. You had Southampton beat Newcastle 2-0, and really encouraging performance from Southampton after losing Danny Ings. The two up top were Shea Adams and Theo Walcott for this game, and the two combined for a goal early. The press that I mentioned that they really needed to do, it was working today. Walcott was able to win the ball from Almiron, who really shouldn't have been dribbling in that situation, but he won the ball, putting a good ball to Shea Adams, and he was able to put the ball in the back of the net. And you've got to be really happy with Shea Adams. He's been on form to start this year after a pretty bad last year. He's been really good. Great job by him. The Southampton team's looking pretty good with him right now. Ward-Prowse and Romeo were really bossing this Newcastle midfield. Great performances by them. Ward-Prowse continues his really nice form, and Romeo is really starting to step up as well. I think their defense was performing well. They were missing Ryan Bertrand, but honestly that might have helped because they were really solid defensively with Stevens at the back. And great jobs by Vestergaard, and Walker-Peters was looking good again. McCarthy was making some decent saves too. And overall, just a really nice game by Southampton. Armstrong picked up a goal late on, and yeah, great game by Southampton. All I can say. Newcastle, honestly, their defense has to be pretty upset because Southampton's goals came off of mistakes. I mentioned that the press was on, but it came off of Almiron holding onto the ball too long and Longstaff holding onto the ball too long. And you got to be really disappointed as a defense because you were dealing with the press pretty well. They were giving away some passes, I should say, but doing all right. But then they just make mistakes and they end up scoring off them. I think Lascelles is still performing well. Carl Darlow was looking really good in the back of the net, and yeah, it's disappointing performance from the midfield. They weren't able to get Wilson or St. Maximin involved at all. So, yeah, that's about it. Pretty disappointing game by Newcastle. Picking man of the match, I think I got to go with Shea Adams. He's been playing on fire. Was able to replace Danny Ings well. And, yeah, you got to like the result from him.